You need to find someone to help you set up a company.
I have a marketing agency in Europe, and I want to set up a business in Dubai. Kate, you're a friend of mine. Can you help me find a consultancy?
Okay. I probably wouldn't book them off Instagram, to be honest. Go on Google, look at the reviews. Reviews don't lie most of the time. I believe the bad reviews. So if you go to certain companies who assist with company setup, good reviews can be bought. No one buys bad reviews. So bad reviews are obviously true. When you go through and you see the good to bad sort of ratio, and obviously the comments that people put on there too, you can gauge what type of consultants that company has, if their advice has been good, if they've been thorough, and then at least that'll help you with your decision. If you have any questions regarding company setup, PRO services, or governmental processes in general, then you can click the link below to schedule a Zoom meeting with me or one of my colleagues, and we will go through any of your queries, your problems you're facing. If you just want to understand the process, we've fixed a lot of problems, so I'm sure we will be able to help you with yours.
I found an offer company. What do you think about it?
Pay up front 6k. They use specific words, obviously, like starting from, for example. Pay up front this. You're not going to get a license with one visa for 6,000 dirhams. You get a 0 visa license for 6,000 dirhams, but then there's no point. That's not what you're going to need if you want a bank account. So be careful with the wording that they add around that, because it's very misleading.
What about free WIO corporate bank account openings? I think it's free and I can do it myself, right?
Again, WIO Bank is good. We recommend that people use them too, but they're acting like it's a very big service that they're providing. It takes 2 minutes on the application. You can do it yourself if you need to. If you, not in Dubai, but if you went to RAK, you can get a package for just over 12,000 dirhams at the moment, with everything included. So your license, your establishment card, your e-channel, your visa, your medical, your biometrics, everything included. But remember, that's the government fee. If you go through a consultancy, they'll add a fee on top, obviously, for the service. The total process will take maybe a month and a half, so they're not going to do it for free. I'd say on average, in total for that, so you'd have the RAK's government fee plus a service fee, maybe 18,000 dirhams for everything.
So if they're asking for less money than the government fee, it's a clear red flag and it doesn't look good.
So they'll probably ask you to pay that up front and they'll write out the application, but they won't submit it until you've paid the other half. So then they have half your money just sat there doing nothing.
I got 2 quotes from another company. This one is for the Dubai Free Zone. What do you think about this offer?
This offer looks fine, I think, to be honest. I like that they've listed out each individual bit. The top 2 bits actually go together, so I don't know why they've done it like that. Maybe to look like there's more steps. But some companies will put it as a package price, so you don't actually know what's included. At least there they've listed it out. So some companies will not add like an establishment card in, for example, which you have to have. It's mandatory. If you want to have a visa, you have to have it. But then they'll just do your license price, and then when it comes to that, they'll bill you again for it. So at least they've listed it all out step by step, and then you have the full price until you've got your visa.
What else should I ask the company about? What else do I need to know?
To see their contract, their terms and conditions, and read every bit. The point is you have to read it. I don't understand how people don't read it. It's a contract, you have to sign it, it's legally binding. Please read every contract.
For fuck's sake, do not knock him out.
I have a contract. How can I make sure that I don't get overcharged?
I mean, yeah, so obviously read your contract. If you're going to set up a company, realistically, you should look at 3 different jurisdictions, in my opinion, so you can see the difference in price, the difference in rules, what difference in things that they offer. Then you need to ask the consultancy what your renewal fees will be, if there's any ongoing things such as like accounting, compliance, things like that you need to take into consideration, or any fees that you'll find within the first 6 months that maybe they haven't listed there.
Here's an offer from RAK's. What do you think about it?
That one seems fine as well, but did they tell you the pros and cons of both? No. So that's what you need to ask as well. So there'll be obviously pros and cons for each free zone. So for example, these 2, the Dubai-based one, because your license is in Dubai, means your visa is in Dubai. That means if you need to sponsor your family, then you sponsor them through the immigration system in Dubai. If you need to change your driving license over, you do it in Dubai. Whereas for RAK's, which is the one you have here, all of those appointments will be in RAK. When you need to sponsor your family, you have to go to RAK. When you need to do your driving license, you have to go to RAK. So you need to weigh up if you want something that's more cost effective or more convenient, and then that is how you would choose between those 2.
What are my options when it comes to choosing a free zone?
Dubai as a whole is a mainland jurisdiction, so is Abu Dhabi, so is Sharjah, and so on. Free zones are small designated areas dotted all over the UAE. There's over 50 of them. Some of them are very industry specific, whereas others are extremely broad. They have their own rules, regulations, they obviously manage their own pricing, they offer different activities, so they are very much specific to themselves. Just because one free zone does something one way doesn't mean another one will. You will see that with price as well. Some free zones are very expensive.
It's very expensive.
And some are very cheap. And it just depends on obviously what you need as to what you would go with.
What are the most expensive ones? Are the benefits worth going there?
Most expensive free zones, DIFC, ADGM, are expensive, but it's because they're very specific. So anything financial related will be through them. They have, like ADGM for example, when you do your legal documents, you can split your shares differently to anywhere else in the UAE. So for big organisations, it's better to have a holding company there and then do the share split and then have another company elsewhere that's potentially cheaper, you know? So people will do it specifically for things like that. DMCC is quite expensive, but it's a good free zone. They have a very good marketing team, so people like them.
What's the approximate price?
Starting price, government fee 52 average, I would say. And then obviously with the service fee, it can be anything. Some people might charge 6,000 dirhams, some people might charge 60,000 dirhams. It depends on who you go with.
What's the difference between doing it myself and through a consultancy?
The difference between the two would be that obviously if you go through a consultancy to help you out, then they will do all of the work. You literally just have to turn up to sign a document and then do your medical test, obviously for your visa and your biometrics appointment. Other than that, they will handle everything. If you do it yourself, then obviously you have to handle everything. So you have to follow up. If there's a problem, you need to fix it. You need to try and communicate. You need to make sure your timelines are right. You need to already have that knowledge. So it's not impossible to do it by yourself, but there is a higher risk of making mistakes. And then you have to go to a company anyway to fix those mistakes.
Okay, so then what's the average total price to set up a company? You know, not in the most expensive zones.
Comfortably, on average, so for one visa, you're looking at probably about 27,000 dirhams on average, what a license and visa and everything would cost. For two visa, again, that depends on the free zone you are, because as soon as you add that extra visa, maybe the license price will just increase, or maybe you'll need to get a bigger desk or something along those lines, so it can vary.
Let's imagine I now have a free zone company set up. Can I freely do business with any Dubai companies?
People who have free zone companies will still work with mainland companies, even though it's not compliant. There's not an authority at the moment that checks it religiously, you know, or there's not a high regulation on it, but that doesn't mean that there won't be in 6 months' time or 1 year's time. They change the rules over here so frequently and implement things overnight. So it's better to just do it properly from the start. So if you have a mainland company, let's say you have a Dubai mainland company, or sell that product throughout the UAE, then it should be a mainland company.
So should I then open a mainland company right off the bat and try not to open a free zone company?
Common mistakes would be that people will choose free zone over mainland just because they think it's cheaper. It's not actually always the case, and especially when you want to grow your business. Free zone may be cheaper to start off with, but mainland is going to be more cheap in the long run. If you're going to have multiple employees, mainland will most likely be more cost effective, because when you add the visa quota, you only pay for the quota. Your license doesn't increase per visa quota that you add. Whereas in a free zone, like I say, it will go up by maybe 2,000 dirhams per visa. So that's just the space, not the actual visa price itself. So yeah, if you're planning on expanding or growing your business in the UAE, then mainland will probably be the better option, unless you have a very industry specific license which requires you to be at like Javza free zone, for example, and you need a warehouse and you need to have 20 employees there on the ground. Even so, that will actually be more expensive once you've added those 20 visas. As opposed to mainland. When you're advised on where to set up your company, people or consultants should take all of that into consideration. When I say all of that, I mean obviously the jurisdiction, the approvals required, your office space, so everything you think you need as opposed to everything that your company is actually going to need. They should already consider and explain that to you. We can help you with that, or anyone with that. They just need to obviously book a Zoom call with us, and then myself or our experts will assist.
Okay, mainland company it is, thanks. Gonna go sign up for that free 30-minute Zoom call.